Tencent just revealed their new game that's coming out for PC, mobile, and PS5, and it looks like this game is essentially just a ripoff of a super popular PlayStation game. What's up, guys? Jab here, back with a brand new video, and today we're going to be looking at Tencent's newly announced open world survival game that is pretty much almost a one-for-one copy for PlayStation's Horizon series. As we can see here, we got this article that we're going to look at, as well as some actual in-game images and stuff, and we even have an announcement trailer, and we're basically going to look at everything just so that you guys can see just how shameless of a copycat this game is. So here's the article. It's on IGN.com, written by Wesley Yin Poole, and it basically says Tencent has announced plans to release its controversial open world survival crafting game Light of Mataram, something like that, on PS5 as well as mobile and on PC. They announced the PS5 version on the PlayStation's Chinese social network accounts on Weibo and Bilibili. It basically says that this game is a free-to-play survival game where nature meets machine. If you guys have never seen Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West, that's literally how you would describe these games in the visual aspect. Nature, right? The characters, nature, very almost like caveman-y, versus machine. All the animals are like robotic and you know, they're like mecha animals basically. That's literally Horizon's whole thing. It has a very, very unique setting that hasn't really been done in games prior to this, and it's kind of what made it so unique and stuff. Tencent is basically copying that like word for word for their game. It goes on to say, you know, screenshots and gameplays videos reveal a visual style remarkably similar to Guerrilla Games' Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, complete with robot beasts in a post-apocalyptic setting. It also says IGN has asked Tencent and Sony for comment, but they don't actually reveal any of the comments in this article, so I'm assuming Sony hasn't actually said anything publicly, nor has Tencent, beyond just like announcing the actual game. It basically just goes on to link the actual trailer, and then on top of that, it does actually explain some of the gameplay, which makes it kind of like, oh, they copied another game. It says Light of Mataram lets players befriend and raise various mecha animals alone or with friends. You need to set up a base camp and ride tame mecha animals as mounts, get them to help with logging, farming, and crafting. Mecha animals can serve as ground, air, and water mounts, help in combat, and assist with resource gathering. This literally sounds like the explanation of Power World's gameplay. If you guys remember that game, it blew up this past year, and it also had a lot of, you know, things saying that it was a copycat because of its similarities to Pokemon. But basically, the what they just said about Light of Mataram's gameplay, it's literally Power World's gameplay. In Power World, you beat up these pals, and then you catch them, and then you make them do your work for you. You make them, you know, gather resources, build stuff, all that, right? It sounds like they basically went, you know what? We want to make a Power World game with the visuals of Horizon, and then basically combine that all into one, and that's their game, Light of Mataram. That's the game that you guys are seeing right here. That is theirs. As you guys can see from like this image, for example, this one is the one that I saw trending on like Twitter and stuff, and everyone was like, wait, what is this? This is not like a new Horizon game, because it literally looks like, again, word for word, like it's Horizon. If this said, instead of Light of Mataram, if this said you know, Horizon 3 or whatever, people probably would have believed that this was a Horizon game, because it literally looks so similar to Horizon and its art style and its very, again, unique setting. It's a super interesting situation, just because Tencent is one of the biggest developers in the world right now, especially, of course, mobile games and mobile gaming. They make some of the biggest games, and so the fact that they are making this and releasing it not only on mobile, where you would expect these kind of games, to be completely honest, right, copycats and stuff, but they're releasing this on PC too, and they're releasing it on PS5. They are releasing this game on Sony's console. They copied Sony's game, and they're going to release it on Sony's platform, which is kind of crazy. And this is coming out, or I should say, this is being revealed in a time where we are seeing like a lot of this happening and then ending in lawsuits. For example, with the whole Power World thing, Power World is actually being sued right now by Nintendo, and why? It's because of its likeness to Pokemon, of course, as well as like some copying of like specific mechanics. I think the whole like throwing a Pokeball thing, I think that might be patented or something like that. But yeah, there's like literally a lawsuit going on right now with Power World because of its likeness to a game. And then now you have this other game that is pretty much doing the same thing, but to, you know, not Nintendo, but to Sony. This isn't the first time that Tencent does this either, by the way. For those of you that know, they did this with the Arena Breakout. Basically, they went ahead and actually made their own. It's an Escape from Tarkov clone. Like, let's be real. Or at least it was back when this game was first revealed, like 2-3 years ago for mobile, and it was in testing and stuff. It had a lot of similarities to Escape from Tarkov. It basically felt like they went make Escape from Tarkov, but for Android and iPhones. And then that's what they went ahead and did. Now, to give Arena Breakout credit, it is a unique enough game. It has its own unique maps and setting and, you know, guns and all that, you know, stuff. So it's not as blatant of a copycat as something like Light of Matrim with Horizon. But again, they're not strangers to taking, you know, ideas that have been presented in other games and then doing their own version. It just feels like with Light of Matrim, they kind of, you know, didn't go the Arena Breakout route where they did it, you know, in a way that they were able to make a unique enough game. Instead, with this, they just went, give us Power World with Horizon and let's release that. So it's kind of crazy that one of the biggest mobile game developers in the world right now is doing this. But I mean, maybe there is again, in the article they didn't mention anything about Sony leaving a comment to them saying, like, you know, they're looking at the situation or anything like that. So maybe Sony's okay with it. I don't know. But we do have the trailer here. I'm just going to go ahead and skip through it. It's actually kind of long. It's like 7 minutes long. But again, once you actually look at the in-game visuals, it does very much look like a Horizon game. I think where it kind of separates from the Horizon franchise, though, is that gameplay. In the article, they do mention that the gameplay is more similar to something like Monster Hunter or Power World, and I definitely see that inspiration in the actual gameplay clips that we see. If I could just go ahead and find them. So like they mentioned, you're going to be able to use them as mounts to, you know, traverse the land and stuff and get around. Pretty much how it works in Power World. And then on top of that, the actual gameplay is very similar to something like Monster Hunter, where you're gonna have to be like dodging, you're gonna have to be you know, going up against these big ass animals, basically. Again, kind of like Monster Hunter, if you've ever played that series. Fantastic series. Doesn't really look like Monster Hunter at all, but the gameplay concept is definitely there. But yeah, so far there is no, at least not that I've read, there's no release date for this or anything like that. It does look pretty far along, at least from the trailer so far. So maybe we'll be getting more announcements and news about it, you know, pretty soon. Definitely not trying to hate on this or anything, by the way. It looks really interesting. I will 100% try this out, whether it's on mobile, PC, PS5, it doesn't really matter to me. It looks interesting enough, but again, it is kind of a crazy situation with things going on right now, like Nintendo versus Power World and that whole lawsuit and stuff like that. It is kind of crazy to see the balls on Tencent to be like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and release this on Sony's console, even if it looks like one of Sony's most, you know, profitable and one of their biggest games of the last like 10 years or whatever. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you guys are interested in trying this out, do you think that Sony has grounds for a lawsuit with what you've seen so far of Light of Matrim? I'm very interested in hearing your guys' thoughts. But with all that being said, guys, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.